The moment his hand touched her shoulder, the entire parade ground seemed to hold its breath. Rows upon rows of soldiers stood under the harsh midday sun, nearly 1,800 troops arranged in perfect formation. The ceremony had been meant to celebrate discipline and leadership, but discipline was the one thing that had just shattered. Captain Adrian Cole's voice cut through the air like a blade. "I'm a Delta commander," he snapped. He shoved the woman in front of him with a careless push, saying, "You don't question me." Gasps rippled quietly through the nearest ranks, because the woman he had just shoved hadn't even raised her voice. Lieutenant Mara Vance had been standing calmly beside the demonstration platform only seconds earlier. She had simply pointed out a safety concern during the combat demonstration that was about to begin, a small detail, a minor correction, but Cole had heard something else entirely: disrespect. The soldiers watching knew his reputation well: decorated, fearless, brilliant in the field, but also dangerously proud. The shove itself hadn't been violent enough to cause injury, yet it carried something heavier than force: humiliation. For a moment time stretched thin across the parade ground. Mara steadied herself and slowly looked up at him. Inside her chest, anger stirred, but it wasn't the kind that exploded. It was the quiet kind that sharpened focus. Years earlier, she had learned a simple truth during training: the loudest voice in the room isn't always the strongest. Cole stepped closer, his jaw tight with irritation. "You don't interrupt me during my command," he continued. The soldiers remained frozen in formation, though many could feel tension crawling through the air like electricity before a storm. Some wondered if the situation would escalate further. Others silently hoped someone would step in, but nobody moved, because this moment had already crossed into something personal. Mara's mind flickered through possibilities. She could walk away, she could stay silent, or she could make a choice that would echo across every rank. Then Cole reached out again, his hand pushing against her shoulder a second time. That was the moment everything changed. The movement was so fast most people didn't even understand what they were seeing. Mara stepped aside, guiding his momentum forward while her other hand redirected his balance. A simple technique, efficient, controlled. Within a second, the decorated Delta commander found himself flat on the parade ground, staring up at the sky. The entire formation gasped in unison, not because it had been violent, because it had been effortless. Dust lifted gently around Cole as he blinked in stunned silence. Mara stepped back immediately, her hands open, posture calm. No aggression, no celebration, just control. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Even the wind seemed too quiet. Cole's pride burned hotter than the sun above him. His mind raced between disbelief and embarrassment. Around him stood 1,800 soldiers who had just witnessed something he never imagined possible. But beneath the shock, another realization slowly began to surface. She hadn't hurt him, she hadn't even tried, she had simply stopped him. A senior colonel who had been observing the demonstration from the reviewing stand finally stepped forward. The crunch of his boots across the gravel seemed impossibly loud. His gaze moved from Cole on the ground to Mara standing calmly nearby. "What happened here?" he asked. No one rushed to answer, because everyone already understood. Cole slowly rose to his feet, brushing dust from his uniform. His pride demanded anger, but something inside him hesitated. For the first time in years, he had been forced to confront a truth he had forgotten. Respect is not enforced by rank, it is earned by character. He looked at Mara, and in that moment, something shifted behind his eyes. "Lieutenant," he said quietly. The word carried a tone very different from before. The colonel watched carefully. Was the lieutenant correct about the safety concern? He asked. Cole paused, then nodded once. "Yes, sir." The answer spread through the formation like a silent wave. Mara had spoken up not to challenge authority, but to protect the people standing behind them. And suddenly the moment wasn't about pride anymore. It was about responsibility. The demonstration resumed shortly afterward, but every soldier present carried that moment with them long after the field emptied, because leadership had revealed itself in an unexpected way, not through dominance, but through restraint. True strength does not shout its power, it proves itself in the quiet moment when someone chooses discipline over ego, like a steady wind shaping mountains over time. If this story made you think, tell me in the comments what leadership means to you, and don't forget to subscribe to Cinematic Whispers for more powerful stories that remind us courage often appears when pride finally steps aside.